Welcome to Monday Morning Dharma on August 3rd. Thank you for joining us. Let's begin with some meditation, shall we? Please settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Please allow yourself to settle and to rest. Allow yourself to rest in a place of quiet stillness. For our meditation this morning, I would invite you to mount our three-word mantra on the breath. As you inhale, silently recite the word rest. At the top of the inhalation, silently recite the word relax. And on the exhalation, allow. As in, allow yourself to be in unity. Allow yourself to be one with all that is. Rest, relax, allow. Rest, relax, allow. Allow the world to be as it is in this moment. Allow yourself to be one with this moment. Now, please, please gently redirect your awareness. Become aware again of this collection of parts we've agreed to label physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the weight of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you're occupying. Deeper and deeper breaths, becoming aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May all beings without exception soon come to enjoy a state of complete, perfect fearlessness. May all beings without exception enjoy inner and outer freedom. May we enjoy inner and outer peace. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Thank you, and welcome back. So I named the recording, I titled the recording of our class on Friday, something like inner stability during scary times, something like that. Yeah, that's kind of the essence of what we talked about on Friday and what we're going to talk about some more today. These are three practices, and I'll remind us of what the two practices that we discussed on Friday were, and introduce a third one. It might be an introduction for some. Some of you might be familiar with it already. But these are three practices that are sort of like immediately applicable, I think, like easy to practice and kind of quick results, sort of like those old, like the hammer, like break in the case of emergency, break the glass. Yeah, these are kind of practices like that, quick, accessible for most, extremely, extremely effective, in my opinion. And all of this is not to say that the other Dharma teachings are not accessible and effective and powerful. No, not trying to suggest that at all. It's just that, you know, for some of these practices, it takes a little bit longer to get some traction, you know. Meditation on impermanence, like, waterproof, watertight and bomb proof. I mean, it's super powerful. Patient acceptance, having abandoned the notion that things should be other than what they are, absolutely, absolutely above reproach. Just so effective. Teachings on emptiness, of course. The thing is, generosity. Thing is, sometimes with these practices, some of these more traditional practices, more conventional practices, maybe it takes some time, some familiarity for us to experience some results with those practices. So, in these difficult times, I wanted to offer some practices that can be, for most of us, just like get immediate traction, immediate break in the case of emergency. Yeah. Um, one of those was one of the practices that I practices, maybe this one's a contemplation, I'm not sure, is to remember that you are on a path. You have a path and you are on that path. And I think there can be peace for remembering that you have a path. How much more difficult would it be if you were not on a path and trying to navigate these heretofore uncharted waters? Right? I was talking with a Sangha friend of mine about this yesterday, and he said it's true. He said it's true. He said, I'm on a path, and even if verbatim, right? Don't shoot the messenger here. He said, even if my practice is shit, you know, it's I'm on the path. I'm on the path, and there is stability and grounding and purpose behind that. Yeah. The other one, the like the foundation of Zen practice, such as I understand it, is being present in the now, being in the present moment. The conceptual explanation of that is really straightforward. If we are present in the moment, in the now, then we aren't reflecting on what happened in the past and being resentful of that, of what happened, reliving the regrets that we had about things that we said to others, reliving, you know, the resentment we have about things that others said to us, sometimes decades ago, right? Likewise, if we're in the now, We can't be, we necessarily will not be freaking out about what we think might happen in the future. Like doomsday scenarios we might be going to. If we're in the now, those two vehicles of conceptual thought cease. So that's like the conventional explanation. Sort of the more subtle explanation, if you will, is that there is magic that can't be explained that comes from being in the now. Yeah. You remember me talking a couple of classes ago about certain aspects of the Dharma being inexpressible? Yeah. There is an inexpressibility that happens, a good inexpressibility that comes from being present in the now, being present in the present moment, in accessing the now through things that we, talked about. Silence, stillness, the breath, sensations within the inner body. Spending more and more time in that present moment will correlate to increased periods of inner peace and deepened experiences of inner peace. So for the third break in the case of emergency practice, I wanted to share with you, very close to being in the now, very, very closely related, but a little bit different. Borrowing from the Hindu school, borrowing from the Bhagavad Gita, and that practice is called karma yoga. Karma yoga. Yup. Remembering that the word karma means action. The translation of the word karma is action. The translation of the word yoga, my preferred translation, is unity or to unify. So, karma yoga is simply and powerfully becoming, it's so easy. We've got to be so careful because becoming suggests we're going to make this thing this way. We're going to create this situation. No, be one with, be unified with your actions. I borrowed from a friend from Natalie Hall who teaches yoga here on Monday evenings. Beautiful, beautiful teacher. I borrowed from her copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Section in here on karma yoga. Perform action, O Arjuna. To refresh everyone's memory, very briefly, the Bhagavad Gita is a teaching that was given by Krishna to a leader who was contemplating going into battle, like waging war against another kingdom or another something. And Krishna was sort of like miraculously like the charioteer, the person like leading the horses while Arjuna was in the carriage. And turns out, Krishna had some interesting things to offer with regard to the prospect of going into battle. Perform action, O Arjuna, being steadfast in yoga, abandoning attachment, and balanced in success and failure. Evenness of mind is called yoga. Yeah, it's so poetic. I'll read it again because it's short. Perform action, O Arjuna, being steadfast in yoga, abandoning attachment, and balanced in success and failure. Evenness of mind is called yoga. Another one later in the text. Having abandoned attachment to the fruits of the action, having abandoned attachment to the fruits of the action, that's code for don't have expectation of results when we do something. Ever content, depending on nothing, the practitioner does not do anything though engaged in action. Key words here. The practitioner does not do anything though engaged in activity. We're being the action, being the action. And so you may have noticed a little pattern here. Yeah, a little pattern here. Like everything is yoga in spiritual practice, any spiritual practice I'm aware of. Everything is yoga about reaching a state of unity with whatever our practice might be, or returning to a state of unity. We're not creating anything, we're not building anything, we're we're returning to this unity, this being one with everything around us and everyone around us. How do we do this? Don't think. Cease the thinking mind, right? It's not to say that there's not a place for conceptual thought. We've got to figure stuff out, right? When we're repairing something, right? When we're repairing something, I mean, we've got to sort of figure out what's causing this thing to not work, right? There's a place for conceptual thought. Oh, this part is broken. That's why the thing isn't working. I figured it out. Excellent application of conceptual thought. But when we're like driving the screw in, we can drive the screw in for the sake of driving the screw in and not thinking about what we're going to do when the thing is repaired, or how we're going to use it or who we're going to give to. We're going to be present as we turn the screw, and we turn the screw for the sake of turning the screw. Similarly, when we're preparing food, right? Sometimes it takes a recipe. Like there's a recipe and we've got to follow the recipe, read and understand the recipe. Great application of conceptual thought. Yeah. But once we've got the recipe figured out and we're like mixing the ingredients in a bowl with a spoon, we mix the ingredients in the bowl of mix the ingredients in the bowl with a spoon, not thinking about, I wonder if this is going to be good. I hope the people I'm going to prepare this for are going to like this. I know that this person doesn't like this ingredient, and they've said this before about this thing that I made before that I didn't like, and off it goes. Just stir the ingredients, present in that moment. This is karma yoga. It's a little bit unfortunate that neither of our two environmental activists are here, because Allison Civic and Martha Cooper, and I hope they listen to this recording, because I'm going to get a little bit graphic here, okay? So buckle up. You know, I think about the losing battle that environmental activists are involved in, you know. You heard about this thing? Like, I didn't know it was a thing. Heat domes. You heard about this? Yeah. Heat domes over Phoenix, Arizona. Like they just broke a record for the high low temperature, right? Like the low temperature at night recently was the highest it's ever been. So it's like not even cooling off at night, you know? It's like scary stuff. It's really scary, like sci-fi stuff. And I just wonder how like environmental activists do it, you know? How they get out of bed every day and do this thing. Yeah. This thing called environmental activism. Karma yoga is an answer for doing that. Yeah. We do the work for the sake of doing the work. Yeah. Set our intention, do our best. The rest is karma. Yeah. With no expectation about results. There was something else. There was something else related to this that I wanted to share. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't, by the way. You may be wishing that I had that the point I wanted to make remained forgotten. But so here are these things called heat domes. These things called heat domes, like sci-fi stuff. And, if there was anything that was going to cause humanity to recognize we've got to get our act together, right? We've got to turn this thing around. You know, renewable energy, natural forms of energy, whatever it might be, you know. I mean, there like and to my way of thinking, there's nothing like no more, we don't need any more evidence that we've got to do something and we've got to do it quick, right? What has been our response, humanity's response? Artificial intelligence. Like, let's double down and triple down on artificial intelligence, you know? Um, Resort these data centers, how much land are they having to clear, trees to cut down, water to produce? What, takes a lot of water, we hear. You gotta know it takes a boatload of electricity as well to operate these things. It's like we're doing exactly the opposite of what we should be doing, you know? Our answer to the climate crisis, let's just triple down on AI. You know?
Don't group me in with that. It's
What
not our answer.
But we're all in this together, Don. That's the point. That's the point of non-duality, right? It's not those guys over there need to get it together. It's I'm not separate from those guys. Yeah, I know the mind resists that. So here's what I want to offer to you guys, a little like karma yoga practice. Like, have you heard of this search engine called DuckDuckGo? DuckDuckGo, yeah, doesn't use it has an AI feature, but it doesn't default to AI. Let that be your search engine. But I know what we're thinking. I can imagine what we might be thinking. Really, my doing searches on DuckDuckGo because it doesn't use AI? I'm one out of what, 4 or 5 billion people who are using AI. There's the thinking mind engaging. No, do the search for the sake of doing the search, using this more environmentally defensible search engine called DuckDuckGo. It's the equivalent of turning the screw It's the equivalent of stirring the ingredients in the bowl. Just be present with the search that you do if you feel compelled to do a search, if it's necessary. Yeah. One other thing, I'm running over again, just almost last point and we'll close, right? Here's the real consequence of AI. And I'm going to shine the spotlight on myself. Here's the real consequence of artificial intelligence. I had something I needed to figure out. I had a problem. I needed some information about a thing. And I thought, oh, I'll call my friend B, who's a Sangha friend of mine. He meditates here at 7 a.m. I said, I'll call my friend B. He'll know the answer. I was like, no, I'll just do AI. I can get it quicker, faster. Fortunately, I caught myself, but if I had gone down that path, I would have lost the opportunity for connection with this friend of mine. And it's connection that will lead me on the path to interconnectedness, like non-duality, oneness, right? But I've got a choice, oneness with Claude AI or oneness with another sentient being. You know, that's a total sidebar. That's a sidebar. But the real message is karma yoga. Do the thing for the sake of doing the thing without expectation of results and be present. Be present in the now while we do it. The results are instantaneous and powerful, and the practice is accessible. So there it is, you guys. Thank you. 8:03. Have a
Jeff,
good week. I'll see you guys 2 weeks from today, okay?
Thank you,
Jeff,
Jeff.
Jeff, before you go, did you get mail from me?
Yes, I
Oh,
did, Marty.
okay. That's all I wanted to know. Make sure it
Okay,
didn't get lost.
okay. Thank you, friends. Bye-bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
Thank you,
time.
Jeff.
Okay.
Are you going somewhere great?